New York City has 3 airports. The closest one to the city, which is local lingo to mean Manhattan, is LaGuardia Airport. Being so close to the city, you would think it's pretty simple to get there. The answer is yes and no. It's one of those situations where it's so close yet so far, for the sole reason that it does not have a direct connection to the New York City subway. And you would think that a taxi ride would be far cheaper than if you were coming from JFK. Well, the thing is, LaGuardia does not have a flat rate like JFK, so there really is no special deal when it comes to cabs. So in this video, we are going to talk about the recommended ways to travel from LaGuardia Airport to Manhattan, and how to go about taking these transits, because navigating the urban jungle is what this channel is all about. Welcome to Urban Caffeine. If you like New Yorking, hit that like button. So here are 2 recommended ways of traveling to the city from LaGuardia. For the sake of having some numbers to show, let's say you are staying at a hotel in Midtown Manhattan. The most convenient option, in my opinion, is either a yellow cab, Uber, or Lyft. If you've seen my JFK airport video, you would know that there is a flat rate with taxis going from JFK into Manhattan. That's not the case with LaGuardia Airport. From LaGuardia, a taxi will be using a meter. So for the most part, the taxi fare is going to be about the same as a Lyft or Uber, which is anywhere around $40 to $70, and will take you 20 to 45 minutes depending on traffic. Later, we will talk about how a taxi differs from a Lyft and Uber so you can make an informed decision. If you think this is expensive, you have the option of paying only $2.75, but it will take you longer. Public transportation to Manhattan from LaGuardia consists of riding both the bus and subway. The bus is about 10 to 20 minutes, and the subway is anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes depending on the time of day. Now that you have an overview of LaGuardia's transit options, let's go over how to take and pay for each one. Feel free to skip ahead if you want. Here are the timestamps. All airports in New York City will have an official taxi line. Simply follow signs to the taxi, get in line, and a taxi will be assigned to you. It's that simple. While you can pay a taxi with a credit card or even your phone via the Curb app, you don't necessarily need either of these. Cold hard cash is perfectly fine. As long as you know the address of where you need to be, a taxi can get you there. If you know the cross street of your hotel or destination, it's actually preferred by the driver rather than the actual address. But in case all you have is the street address, don't sweat it. Taxi drivers have GPS. To learn more about riding a taxi in New York City, check out this video that goes into detail from paying, giving directions, and other tips. People often choose Uber or Lyft because they like the idea of locking in a price for their ride before even taking the ride, and they are also shown the route that they can expect that the driver will take. However, calling and paying for an Uber or Lyft is all done through their respective mobile apps. So if you don't have a smartphone or your phone doesn't work in the United States, this is not an option for you. At LaGuardia Airport, there are designated spots to wait for your Uber and Lyft cars, and there are signs that will lead you there. In the app, you can figure out which bay your driver will meet you, so pay attention to signage. As mentioned, there are no subway lines that connect to LaGuardia. You will have to take a bus to the subway. There have been conversations on creating alternative ways to connecting LaGuardia to the New York City subway, but change like that could be light years into the future. So for now, expect to be using the bus to get to the subway if you want to use public transit. Now, before we get into the details of taking public transit from LaGuardia into Manhattan, I have to warn you all, the buses from LaGuardia are city buses, not your typical airport shuttle buses, meaning they won't have special racks for luggage, and if there are a lot of people, it's gonna be a tight fit. So if you are uncomfortable with this, you might want to avoid rush hours or taking the bus altogether. At the airport, you can always take a peek at the bus stop to see if there are a lot of people waiting before deciding on taking a taxi or share ride. But if you are a public transit hero and are willing to take the bus, here are the things you need to know. There are several buses available from LaGuardia. Which bus to take will depend where you want to get to. So let's take a look at the subway map. If this map looks overwhelming to you, check out this video. Here's LaGuardia, and we are trying to get to Manhattan, locally referred to as the city. These dotted blue lines are the buses. Heading into the city, I would recommend either the Q70 or the M60. The Q70 runs back and forth between LaGuardia, Jackson Heights, and Woodside. so the likelihood of getting lost is low. Here are the trains that are available at these stations. The M60 can take you to N&W trains, but it will make a handful of stops in Queens first. But it's not really that far. But note, the M60 will continue on to Upper Manhattan, so make sure you don't miss this stop, which is at Hoyt Avenue and 31st Street. If you want to be super sure, you can tell the driver that you need to get to the N&W subway. At LaGuardia Airport, there are 4 terminals. The Q70 and the M60 both have stops at terminals B, C, and D. The M60 also stops at Terminal A, but not the Q70. Just follow the signs to get to the bus stop. Each terminal will look a bit different, and you kind of have to look for clues as to which stop is for the Q70 and M60. As you can see in Terminal B, there's clearly a lack of signage. As of filming, you can pay with either the OmniReader or a MetroCard. The MetroCard is estimated to be phased out by 2023 or 2024, but we'll see. If it does, we'll make an updated video, so subscribe and hit that notification bell. Whatever you use to pay for the bus at the airport, whether it's your MetroCard, phone, or credit card, make sure you use the same method to pay for the subway. The system will recognize that you just paid for the bus and will not charge you for entering the subway system. A transfer is free within 2 hours of your last payment. If you use the OmniReader, simply waive your payment on the reader as you are entering the bus, and it's the same thing at the subway station. As for a MetroCard, it's not as straightforward. The city has different types of buses. The M60 and the Q70 are Select Bus Service, or SBS. The way you pay for SBS is a little bit roundabout. First, you go to a MetroCard vending machine that looks like this. You can find these at the airport. After you buy a new MetroCard or refill one that you already have, at the bus stop, there will be machines that look like this. You will need to use your MetroCard to get a paper ticket from this machine. Then you can board the bus with your paper ticket. When you get to the subway, use that same MetroCard at the turnstiles in order to get the free transfer. Transferring from the bus to subway with either the Q70 or M60 is super simple. The bus will drop you off right next to the subway entrance. Both will be accessible with either elevators or escalators or both. If you need more guidance on how to ride the bus and subway, don't miss these 2 videos. These videos will handhold you on the entire process of riding the buses and subways of New York City. I mentioned a lot of videos to watch, so if it's your first time in New York, you got some watching to do. So subscribe, hit that notification bell, and check out the Urban Caffeine channel. If you have any questions, comment down below. And if you know the answer to somebody's question, please share your knowledge, because sharing is caring. As always, thanks so much for watching and happy New Yorking.